My scrappy friends, it is really early, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time for my voice sounding like a frog. It is so early, but I definitely wanted to give you something to watch by me before I take off on my vacation. And for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, we are on our spring break this week. We only get 1 week. Some schools do have two, but our school only has one. And we are taking off to go see my parents and then driving the next day to catch the train to go see the Grand Canyon. And we're surprising our kids, and so I cannot wait for them to see their expressions when they realize that they are going to board a train. But in the meantime, like I said, I wanted to get you guys a little video. Even though it's a little mini vacation, we'll be back in a couple days. I did want to have something for you to watch. And so if you don't follow me on Instagram, like I said, you may want to check out my link because I do have a live video and it talks about um, pulling from your stash when you have a collection but you don't have any embellishments to go with it. For those of you who just now are following me, I am on a very strict freeze and I'm using up my stash, which at first I'm going to not lie, it was a little hard to get started because I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many collections coming out. Creativation just was, just happened. Ton of new product. But honestly, I've been scrapbooking for 18 years and I have so much product that it's becoming overload and it's kind of causing me to not be as creative as I want to be. So I talk about how Basic Gray, this is a Basic Gray collection that I'm using, and this is from 2006. And in 2006, they did not have any embellishments to go along with their collection. It was just papers. And so I talk about how, if you take a pattern paper, the most boldest, most colorful pattern paper in a collection, and if you have absolutely zero embellishments to go with it, how you can just look at all the colors that are in that pattern paper, and for my case it's the one that you see against that white cardstock, and start looking and shopping through your stash. And I usually do it in the morning where I have my cup of coffee, the kids are sleeping. It takes me, yes, a little over an hour, but I find it really relaxing and therapeutic. And I just start going through things where I start, uh, matching the pinks, matching the oranges or blues, whatever color may be in that pattern paper. But in my case, it was the pinks that I was drawn to right away. And pulling from that. And then from there, I always try to include, because I have so many 6x6 paper pads, I was on a real kick where I would not only buy the 12x12 papers, but I'd buy the 6x6 paper pads because I love the scaled down version. And then I always try to grab at least 1 or 2 sheets from a 6x6 paper pad as well that will match with whatever layout that I'm doing. So in this case, I am using the crepe paper. Heart Day, I believe is what it was called. It's one of their Valentine's Day collections. So you have something from 2006, which is Basic Gray, which is the most that I'm going, products I'm going to be, I can't even talk right now because it's so early. The most that I'm going to be using. And then I matched it with crepe paper. I don't know when that Heart Day came out. Maybe a couple, I know I didn't buy the most current one that was just released, but a couple years back. And I am going to work with that. And I went from a more neutral, which was a black and white or a black polka dot. And because I knew that I had pulled some October Afternoon labels that had a very dark gray. And even though it's dark gray, those polka dots are so tiny that you can't even tell if they're black or if they're gray. And they're, plus not only that, I'm going to separate those colors so it won't compete against one another. Now, one thing about Basic Gray, if you were not scrapbooking back in 2006, the only embellishments that came in their paper kit or collection, because it used to be a packet or a package that you could buy, they only had tags and letter stickers. And this is why I am using up what I have. I get very overwhelmed, and even though everything that I grab to work on a page, even though I home it into it's a Studio Calico, not Studio Calico, it's by Crepe Paper. It's a box that has different compartments. Even though I home everything in there when I am working on a layout and have it all together, I sometimes forget things that I pull. And so I told myself in my video on Instagram, if, like I said, if you go to and watch that live video, it is still up, that I'm going to use the letter stickers that came with this kit. And you know what? I was scrapbooking and got so involved, which I do this all the time, that I tend to forget what I pulled, and I end up using different letters. I'm a little bummed because I would have liked the look better with the letters that came with this. However, it's already glued down because the letters that I use were not sticky, and so I adhered them with Scotch Quick Dry, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what they call it nowadays, but it's the stuff where it is like cement, and once you glue it down, there is no, unless you're going to destroy your layout, there is no pulling it, you know, taking them off and try to add something different. So it is what it is, and it doesn't look bad, but like I said, I would have liked it better. Now I'm going to apologize. For one of my videos, did not sync up to my computer, and I don't know if it was corrupted, so you are going to see some things kind of already done, like that border sticker that separates that pattern paper against the white. I had bought a box from Sassafras. I was not around when I was not scrapbooking at the time because I had my little ones. So I was on a break, but Sassafras, I guess, was all the rage. And so when I was on 2Ps, everybody was talking about how they're doing another surprise box, so I bought them. But it is the hardest paper to use. It has kind of that grungy look, but it matches the basic gray perfectly. And it had all the right colors, and so, again, a different manufacturer, but matching the colors with what I'm using, and it ended up being perfect. Now that journaling card that you see, that is from Becky Higgins when she released the flea market. You could get the little mini box like Project Life set, and I have never used anything from there, and so I definitely wanted a place to home my journal. Now I'm thinking I'm going to do this or use that journaling box because it does match beautifully with the Sassafras border sticker, and of course along with the pattern paper. But I am realizing when I got done and I kind of stepped away from it, and then later back that night, I was like, you know what? Last night, I just don't, it's too much yellow, like too much of that lime green, like too much yellow, like mustardy color. And that is something I wanted to soften it up more, so I end up switching that out, and you'll see that in the end of the photograph. I found this letter that matched perfectly, or not letter, number. I always have a hard time when American Craft has those mixed thickers or chipboard pieces that have numbers included, because sometimes I don't have a match, but this one matched perfectly, and it was the right number. He is 4 years old in this photo, and this is almost coming to an end, so let me talk a little bit about the photograph. When my son was little, his preschool had high tea time for Mother's Day. And it's the cutest story ever. So I came to his first high tea time, and he was so happy to see me and so excited to be serving his mom tea, but it wasn't really tea. It was lemonade, and they had little cookies and treats. And I'm not kidding you. I sat down, and he's like, "Mommy, here's your food." And I go, "Okay, thank you." And he ate it all. And he's like, "Do you want more?" And I'm like, "I haven't had any, but that's okay." You know, it was like, it was so cute that so he served himself more. It was more him eating all the treats. And but it was adorable to watch him. You know, they pulled out my chair, or he pulled out my chair, and of course, you know, he couldn't tuck me back in once I sat down. But and just, it was really a sweet thing that the preschool did for the moms, and for Mother's Day. And so I wanted to document this story, and thank you so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that process video. If you're new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss out on any of my other videos in the future. And you all have an amazing weekend with your loved ones, your family, your friends. Just have a great day. Bye.